Greetings, loyal followers, and welcome to another tranquil episode of My Fav Thing, a show we do here at Rock Paper Shotgun where I chat to one of my lovely colleagues about a brand new video game they've been playing to find out their favourite thing about it. Today I'm joined by my good pal Ollie to talk about Cult of the Lamb, the latest project by Massive Monster that combines the familiar action combat of a roguelite with the settlement management mechanics of something like Spiritfarer. It's brilliant, and we were both really excited to talk about this one. Enjoy. Hey Ollie, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. It feels like every time we have a chat on the channel, it's like 29 degrees outside.
Yeah, I kind of didn't want to mention the heat again, but that is all that's encompassing my mind right now.
So you've been playing Cult of the Lamb for about a week now, and I am desperate to hear what you think about this game because I've been playing it a little bit too, and I think it's really good. So what is your favourite thing about Cult of the Lamb?
All right, so my favourite thing... It was difficult because there are a lot of really good things about this game, but my favorite thing about Cult of the Lamb is probably the rituals that you can enact with your cultist followers. So just to give a little bit of background, you are spending about half of your time in Cult of the Lamb running your cult and managing all of your followers and building up your little village over time. And you have to make sure that your cult's faith stays quite high, because if it drops, then your followers will start to get unhappy. They might start to dissent against you and start spreading falsehoods about you. And eventually they'll just leave your cult. So you have to keep the faith really high all the time. And one of the best ways to do that is by enacting these rituals in your central altar. And you have a lot of different rituals to choose from. You unlock them over time by passing different doctrines. And they are just such spectacles. Like, the whole game is just amazing at presentation. And they just deliver everything with such panache and style. But I think the rituals are the apex of that style. It's just, it does feel like a real spectacle. You call in all of your followers and they gather in a circle, and you choose which kind of ritual you want to enact. And everyone is just oohing and eyeing at all of the horrible things that are happening inside this circle. It's just the best.
What are some of your favourites?
Well, there was one that became a real staple in my cult, which was... Ritual combat of the elderly. That was what was going on in my tribe quite a lot. So part of the problem was that followers in this game do age. They do get old and they die at around like 50 or 60 years of age.
Yeah.
And that's not great because people get sad when people die, and also you have to deal with the body because otherwise it just starts to rot and it makes people nearby feel quite sick.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is quite a twisted game. But I passed a couple of doctrines back to back, which really dovetailed nicely with each other. There was one which enabled me to call forth a duel, and that was just another ritual. So I can just go and pop into my altar, and I can just get everyone together, form a circle, and get two of them to fight to the death.
Amazing.
It doesn't have to be to the death, actually. I could have chosen to spare the loser if I wanted, but I never did. Of course not.
I never did.
I was solving a problem. The other great thing that I enacted was I kind of leaned heavily on this concept of the afterlife in my cult. And so I think I passed some sort of doctrine which meant that if an elderly cultist died of natural causes, then that was shameful. Whereas if they died by sacrifice of some kind, then that was a really good thing, and they were like giving their spirit to the cause. And so it just worked perfectly because I would be constantly, whenever I got two old followers, I would just have them fight to the death. And everyone would be really, really happy. They would be like euphoric that one of these people had just died. That was definitely my favorite.
So you can set granular things like that for your cult, where you say, oh, if you die through sacrifice or death, combat, it's better for the cult.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, as you go on your runs in the more roguelite part of the game, You gather these, I think they're commandment stones or something. You gather fragments of commandment stones, and when you get a full commandment stone out of all of the fragments, you can enact a new doctrine. And the doctrines are kind of split into different categories. There is one that focuses on the afterlife. There's one that's about like sustenance, one that's about law and order, and so on. And I think each one has like 5 choices. So each time you enact a doctrine, you get a choice between 2 options, and often they are new rituals to unlock, but you have to choose between one or the other. So when I was given the option to unlock the ritual combat, there was another option. I don't even remember what it was, but I could have gone a different path by enacting a different doctrine. It does offer quite a bit of interest and kind of it offers you a bunch of new paths to go down with your cult, and you can get them to be excited and lean towards different things and different focuses.
I absolutely love that you made a cult where everyone was euphoric when someone was murdered by another.
Yep. Specifically the elderly. It doesn't work any other way.
It speaks so much to a point you made earlier about how grim this game is, considering all of your cult members are properly adorable little cartoon animals.
Yeah, it really walks that line between cute and completely depraved.
Which is a very fun line to walk, right?
Oh, yeah.
I suppose the most obvious comparison is something like Happy Tree Friends from when we were kids. You know, these grim little vignettes of cute things murdering each other. And it's all I can think of whenever I'm, performing ritual sacrifice.
Yeah. I kind of knew early on what I was getting in for with this playthrough, because I think I had to clean up, because you have to do a lot of cleaning up after your cultists in this game. They don't have outhouses to begin with, so a lot of the menial day-to-day tasks involve just going around your village and cleaning up the messes and cleaning up the piles of vomit, because you've been feeding everyone like spider meat stews and they don't like it. Yeah, I realized it was going to be quite a depraved game when I cleaned up a pile of vomit and some meat came out that I could collect and just use in another meal. I was like, oh God. Yeah, that's this kind of game, isn't it?
So you mentioned before that half the game is this roguelite. It's like a top-down hack and slash. It has a lot of similarities to things like Hades, I think. The combat, you're doing dodge rolls, you're hitting enemies with swords and going from room to room, and everything's randomized. And then the other half is this settlement management game where you look after your cult. Which side of the game did you enjoy more out of the two?
Ooh, that's quite difficult. I think I was surprised. I was saying this to you earlier. I was quite surprised at how evenly balanced the two sides are. I was expecting it to be mostly the fighting, but actually you spend a lot of your time outside of the crusades that you go on, just managing your cultists and talking to different NPCs and completing quests, that kind of thing. I think the combat is really good. It's got a really strong foundation. It is very much like Hades or Dead Cells. It's those kinds of games that are all about dodging at the right time and backstabbing and striking back. I think there's a slight lack of content in the fighting side, just in the sense of I want there to be more variety in the weapons, in the tarot cards that you unlock, which kind of give you the bonuses over the course of a run. I think they can do a lot more with that, and hopefully later updates will add that content. So for now, I think I actually prefer the management side of things, because that is where the presentation aspect of the game really comes into the fore. Everything just looks great. Even just like pressing a button sometimes in this game, it just feels like this moment of just excitement and exhilaration because of all the effects that are going on screen while you're holding down this button, and all you're doing is enacting a doctrine or performing a sermon or something. But it looks exciting and it feels great.
It's a proper lovely looking game, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
So the final word then, would you recommend Cult of the Lamb?
Yes, I absolutely would recommend Cult of the Lamb. I don't think you'll get as much longevity out of it as some roguelites like Binding of Isaac or something, because those games have hundreds of items and they've had years and years to build up their repository of content. But considering it's both a roguelite and a management game. I think it's actually got quite a lot to it, and I like that they kind of bridge the gap between the two aspects as well. They have lots of clever ways of involving your followers and your cult back at home in your runs that you go on. So I think it's all really well done. It's all very, very polished, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a great time.
I can't wait to play more of this. I played about an hour yesterday, and I was going out yesterday evening, and my partner came in and was like, "We need to leave now." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to." And this is so good. It makes such a good first impression. That first hour, it gives you a lot of information, but all of it is just so compelling that you blitz through a load of key concepts, and good game. Can't wait to play more. Really happy you enjoyed it.
Yep, you too.
Thank you so much for watching. Are you giving up your worldly possessions to join the Cult of the Lamb? Tell us all about your fancy new robes in the comments below. For all your PC gaming needs, head on over to rockpapershotgun.com, and I'll catch you next time.